Other interesting political news, you have RFK supporting full-term abortions. Will he lose any support? Now, this comes to us thanks to X Twitter, and specifically, it comes from Charlie Kirk. Now, Charlie says, quote, here is RFK Jr. affirming his commitment to China-style full-term abortion without limits nationwide. And he has a little clip here. I don't want to say he half-assed it, but where's his suit? He is wearing a tie and a button-up. Like, you're so close to having, a little bit of. How do you not go? How do you miss the blazer? Like, how do you not do that? Like going somewhere and not wearing shoes. Oh wait, he's not doing that either. Let's dive into this. I usually say their voice is infinitely better than mine, and usually is, truth be told. In this case, might be a coin flip, but let me go.
But so to leave, so in other words, keeping it as is with Roe versus Wade having been overturned and leaving it up to the states to determine if and when a woman can have an abortion?
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No.
Again, there are a lot of disgusting things going on right now, including but not limited to. He's sitting in a poofy chair. Definitely a gal designed this place. It's not a cool, solid chair, solid furniture. It's like modern garbage. But he also, and she's sitting on the couch with her legs under her, like a child. No shoes on as well. Well, I guess she's on the sofa, so I guess you wouldn't have shoes on there. But he's sitting down in that funny looking chair. And he's not wearing shoes. And surely stinking up the room, not just with his ideals, but also with foot stink. And his shoes are right there. Like, this isn't a thing where, oh man, maybe he couldn't afford the shoes, he doesn't have enough campaign financing, maybe he forgot his shoes at home, but maybe he had a Bud Light and he forgot. But no, it's literally on the ground. And again, it might be camera perspective. Maybe it's more than a foot, maybe it's 4 feet. But the shoes they look like they're right out of arm's length distance, so there's no reason for him not to be wearing them. And truth be told, I don't even see a blazer like thrown on the back of the chair, which is even more bizarre. Where is your blazer, sir? Where is your suit? He does have dress pants, and he's wearing a belt, so he did something right. He has a tie, I guess. But nevertheless, we'll go back to hearing what he has to say, and I'll rewind it for a fraction of a second.
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
You would say completely. It's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved.
Even if it's full term.
Even if it's full term.
Okay, and I think.
Yeah, that's not very popular among most Americans. Among libertarians, I do understand that perspective, and it might be more. I was gonna say, let me know if you're a fellow libertarian in the comment section. I could see that being more popular with them. And went pretty viral. Got 922,000 views, but only 5.3 thousand likes. So not many likes. Again, if you look at statistics on what average Americans think about abortion, again, it's one of those cliche political hot buttons that has been debated for decades. The pessimist in me kind of thinks, well, yeah, that's so that Democrats and Republicans can both raise money for campaign funds and never actually fix the issue or come to a resolution. But I partially digress on that note. But if you look at the polling, most people say, yeah, 9-month abortion, no, doesn't pass the gut test. 8-month, hell no. I mean, most people do not support third trimester abortions. Personally, I would say no one with a modicum of morality would support that. Now, usually the big debate in the United States is, where does it end? There are a couple of people who want to ban it altogether, and especially the faith-based community, that makes 110% sense. You're quite literally taking a life. Now, the consensus that a lot of people say is, around 16 weeks. That's when a lot of people, again, not all, but that's a very popular opinion. I'm not saying it's correct morally, just because a lot of people are saying that's what they think is the right thing to do. I mean, personally, it seems the older I get, the less I could think of ways to justify why anyone of moral value would choose to do that. Granted, let me know in the comments. I'd be, interested in what your perspective is. And again, when you're looking at who is he trying to court in terms of, he's a libertarian and he wants to get the people who feel politically alienated, like myself. He's trying to find people who they feel like the Democrats don't like them, like the Republicans are bad. The old joke is Democrats are running off a cliff and Republicans are just walking towards the cliff, and then rolling off inevitably. If you're Chris Christie, you're rolling for sure. But again, if you're trying to win over a vote, it doesn't give you a compelling reason to vote for him. Democrats already believe this. Now, 20 years ago, 10 years ago even, this would have been, from a libertarian perspective, a articulate point that they would respect. Because again, they want to have no government at all, or very little, very little. From that perspective, that at that time, that would have made sense because back in the day, Democrats were against abortion, believe it or not. We're winding back the clock many years. This feels like a lifetime. Back in the day when gas was under $1 a gallon, which, thanks to our government ineptitudes and global issues and EPA, that's not going to happen again for quite some time. But there was a time where Democrats, their campaign slogan was, I mean, they originally said this is terrible, but we understand. We say there's unforeseen circumstances, it needs to happen. And the big mantra, again, Bill Clinton, I think, really made this a famous comment and philosophy. I don't know if it's really philosophy, more of a political ideal, but they used to say safe, legal, and rare. That was the standard back in the day. And then Republicans, their marketing shtick was, no, it's evil. You're killing babies. It's not right. You're making less humans in the planet, which is also not good. And that was what was kind of the political consensus. Democrats said, it should be safe, legal, and rare. You're not supposed to, no one would never brag about this. But now the Democrat Party, again, they keep moving, and so do Republicans. Now they brag about it. It's almost like a rite of passage for some people, which is so viscerally, mentally, and morally vacuous and disgusting. I can't imagine. But there are people who brag about gay abortions, which, I mean, even if you have unforeseen circumstances, I can't fathom how you would brag about that. Even if you're of the perspective that you think it's just a couple of cells, well, you're getting rid of the potential. If you did nothing, you're removing a child. Why would you brag about that? And yet, that's the Democratic Party is doing these days. Not everyone in the party, I understand. There are outliers, of course. That is the overwhelming consensus. Because that is the current overwhelming consensus in the Democrat Party, RFK saying this really doesn't add much value add. Because if that's, again, there are a lot of people where they're single issue voters, or there's 2 or 3 things that their person needs to say, or they have to have a policy conscription that they will vote for him. And again, RFK isn't adding any value here. This is just a Democratic talking point and Democratic policy. So it really isn't much value added at all. It's not going to get him more prospective voters. Those voters are just going to vote for Biden because, again, that's their policy. So again, in addition to morality and just the gut check of a full term, I mean, personally, I think that's viscerally disgusting, of course. But life gets boring if you're in the echo chamber, so let me know if you think differently, and maybe we'll see some different perspectives in the comments. Now, some of the first ones comes from Paul Zupa saying, quote, he couldn't have been more clear. RFK Jr. supports infanticide. What a monster, getting 248 likes, which you can at least respect the guy in terms of he is being very clear. He's letting you know exactly his policy, which, again, this is why I'm a big fan of political debates and having as much data as possible. You also have Sassafras84 saying, so he supports murder. How could anyone agree to terminate this beautiful child? RFK will never be president. It shows, a baby reacting to mom's first kiss, getting 615 likes. Well, no. Well, this video just got, I was going to say, it's already shadow banned on the YouTube, but yeah, any modicum of music also gets it censored and demonetized. Well, granted, not making a living off this, but it's one of those things where you have no other reason to tune in on other platforms, and again, subscribe and like me on those alternative platforms. Apparently, if you say the name of those platforms, you also get even more blacklisted. I mean, statistically speaking, 2 to 3 people will see this video on YouTube. Maybe if I text a family member, maybe we'll get to up to 3. But yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence. I went from thousands to even a couple hundred views per video to now where the average is down to like 2 to 3. Granted, I think I had one video that last week that got like a couple hundred. So there's like 1 or 2 outliers. And again, let me know in the comments. Is there something I need to do differently? Hey, I've increased the production value, but of course, more feedback the better. Maybe I just need to switch things up a bit. Now, going back to the comments, we have, let's see here, a couple people agreeing with him on the vaccine policies, which, yeah. Salty Goat says, and regardless of how passionate he rails against vaccines, that is a deal killer for pretty much all conservatives, getting 694 likes, which, yes, that is a deal breaker for me, especially people in the faith community. That is also a big deal breaker for them as well. Jerry says, don't be fooled by RFK. He's a liberal Democrat through and through, getting 446 likes, which he is also, historically speaking, against the Second Amendment, which, for me, that's another big red flag if you're against, freedom and citizens be able to defend themselves. Not really a big fan of that. And for the record, there are a lot of rhinos, or pejoratively known as Republicans in name only, who turn out to be anti-Second Amendment, which, again, primary them, peacefully protest, and vote differently is what I always say. Let's see here. George Alexandros simply says, F this guy, getting 262 likes. Is any contrarian statements? Because again, there are a lot of people who support this. See here. Okay, here's one maybe. Patrick Webb says conservatives shouldn't be attacking RFK Jr. They should be thanking him. He's not trying to steal votes for Trump, but doing the opposite to take away votes for Biden. He's made it quite clear he doesn't want a second term of Biden, nor do most Americans. He says Kennedy will be the Ross Perot of the 2024 election, getting 70 likes, which I don't think so. I don't think so. Ross Perot was extremely well known and beloved, especially in his home state, or some might say the country of Texas, where he's a very successful entrepreneur. He had a lot of charisma. He had a lot more support and a lot more resource allocation. I know RFK's VP is apparently a former, was it a wife or of a billionaire tech entrepreneur. So I know RFK does have he has some serious resource allocation, but again, RFK was, I don't think he has as much support as Ross Perot did. Let me know if you think differently, though. Yeah, there's any other statements. See here. I mean, pretty much overwhelming. James Hutton says too many young voters see RFK Jr. as a cool alternative to Trump or Biden. He's basically a left-wing crank, getting 11 likes. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's see if this increases his support, because again, this policy really doesn't add anything much different than whatever. I mean, it's certainly not adding much different than what Democrats are and what Biden is. I mean, this is pretty much just copy paste. So I don't see this specific stance pulling over people to vote for RFK. I think some of the other he has a couple other stances that might attract more prospective voters. And again, politics is a long game. Things change all the time. So maybe he'll have another policy that's more attractive for the mass audience and maybe pulls over some more votes. But you never want to underestimate your opponent, whether it's chess, checkers, or politics or business. But as of right now, I'd say his outlook for him is not great. Maybe 1% of the polls. But as always, let me know in the comments. I would be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.